The SEC is really struggling. And I know this has been pointed out by others, but Wake Forest smokes Vandy. Georgia played Ball State. We don't know what Georgia is. Georgia, we will have to wait and see. Kentucky beats Eastern Kentucky. Okay, whatever. Miami beating Texas A&M. Pretty handedly. This game looks, I think, the score almost feels a little closer than it was. Miami won that game pretty easily. Dyke, 374 yards passing, looked really comfortable the whole game. So Miami smokes Texas A&M. Ole Miss plays Tulane. This game was very, very close. In fact, it was tied until the fourth quarter. And Tulane is playing without their star quarterback, who is a true star. Everybody was talking about this game. Oh my goodness, you're going to have a bunch of points scored. Tulane's quarterback's crazy. You know, a few little Heisman rumors. Like, he is a legit quarterback. And he didn't play at all. And you were tied going into the fourth. Now, they pulled away there at the end. There's, you know, some junk time touchdown here at the very end when they're pushing, right? Some turnovers and things. But that's concerning for Ole Miss. Arkansas plays Kent State, whatever. Tennessee. Tennessee dropped in the AP rankings because they looked so bad against Austin Peay. This was a 4-point game at halftime. 4-point game against Austin Peay. That's just not. That's not what Tennessee is expecting, right? They did eventually pull away there in the second half. Good for them. But Austin Peay's quarterback threw for more yards than Tennessee's. That's not a good sign. So that's concerning. Texas beats Alabama. Well, handedly. It wasn't a blowout. No, it was a hard-fought win. But they won. It wasn't like the last-second touchdown. Yeah, we're just not even going to talk about that. Okay, Florida plays McNeese, whatever. But Florida got beat by Utah pretty handedly. And Utah just struggled. Utah doesn't have Cam Rising. So I don't know if Florida's that good. LSU bounces back, puts it on to Grambling. But they're coming off and getting smoked by Florida State. Mississippi State. This is an overtime game against Arizona. Arizona is not very good. That's the bare bottom of the Pac-12, which everybody doesn't think is a very good conference to begin with. Now this year, they have a legitimate quarterback surplus. Everybody's got a quarterback, it feels like, at the top end of the Pac-12. But Arizona is not one of those teams. This is not Oregon State. This is not USC. This is not Oregon. This is not Colorado. This is not Utah. This is not one of those legit quarterbacked Pac-12 teams. This is Arizona. And you went to overtime against them. Gave up 342 yards passing to Arizona's quarterback. And I don't think that's not a good sign. South Carolina beats Furman, whatever. Auburn and Cal. Cal is bad. Cal does not have a particularly good defense. They're not known for their defense. And you could only score 14 points. You were down 10-7 until the fourth quarter. Then you score a touchdown and that's it. Cal is not very good. This is a bad sign for the SEC this year. I think this is the weakest the SEC has been in a very, very, very long time. I think there's a very good argument to be made that at the end of the year, maybe 2 or 3 teams, that's it, going to be ranked. Which is very different from a typical, and really only one of them I think is top 10. I think there's only one top 10 team in the SEC, Georgia. And we don't even know yet because Georgia hasn't played anybody. Right? Georgia beats UTM and Ball State. I don't know what that is. They'll play South Carolina, but South Carolina is not good. They're not good. They play UAB. Not good. Georgia's not going to play anybody till they play Auburn, who we just saw was terrible against Cal. Kentucky struggled with like Western Kentucky. Vandy, Florida, Georgia, because of the side of the SEC they play on, I don't think Ole Miss is. They might not have a single ranked win all year. At the end of the year, we might look at these schedules and we might go, Georgia didn't even play a ranked team. Now, Tennessee might be, but I don't think Ole Miss is going to be ranked. Look at Ole Miss's schedule here. They're going to lose to Alabama, probably going to lose to LSU. They might lose to Auburn. Auburn's going to be a battle. Texas A&M's going to be a battle. There's a very good chance Georgia has one win against a top 25 team. And it's possible Tennessee loses to Texas A&M. You know, they beat each other up a little bit. Tennessee's probably losing to Alabama. Maybe they beat Alabama. Sure, why not? Kentucky, UConn, Missouri. The SEC's just not that good this year, and it's sad for Georgia because I don't know if we're really going to know how good they are. We'll see them play Auburn. But playing Auburn, I mean, Auburn just barely beat Cal. Are we really going to get excited about that? We really won't know what Georgia is probably until they play Ole Miss and Tennessee. At the end of the year, it might just be Georgia and Alabama are the only two ranked SEC teams. And that has not happened in a very, very long time. Very, very long time. So if you're a big fan of the SEC, big fan of Georgia, big fan of Alabama, this is not a good year. Alabama just got beat by Texas. Georgia really, I think, is the only legitimate, top 10 team. I think Alabama, they'll figure it out. They've got too many good players on that team to not be in the top 25, but there's a real possibility Georgia finishes the year with 1 or potentially 0 top 25 wins besides the SEC championship game, right? They finished the regular season without a big win. And that could be interesting. Come playoff time, I think Georgia should win all of their games, which is going to get them in the playoff. But should they lose that SEC championship game, things might get interesting. I don't think Alabama could win out, I guess, and maybe get in. And you chalk up the Texas loss, but you're going to need some help if you're Alabama right now to get into the playoff, and that's the goal at Alabama every year. Georgia, you got to win out, because if you lose to Alabama in the championship game or you lose to LSU, I don't know. How good is Florida State and how good is Texas? Both of them beat up on Alabama and LSU. Alabama, I think, played Texas closer, obviously, than LSU played Florida State. So, all right, Alabama's probably the better team between those two. But you lost to LSU. LSU's okay. But, man, Georgia, you can't lose because you're not going to have any big wins. They don't play anybody big out of conference. So it's going to come down to that SEC championship game. And can Georgia win out? Because if they take a loss in that SEC championship game, and Alabama has a couple of losses, maybe, they've got one already. Maybe they lose another random game there in the middle. We might have no SEC teams in the college football playoff, should that happen. SEC's definitely on a down year. I think if I was picking who's the best team I've seen, it's got to be Florida State. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, share it with a friend. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about all of these different college football teams, and we'll see you tomorrow.